but I want to be financially stable. And so like that's also something that's big for me. And I want to be there for my kids, like how my parents were for me. And so like I want to have like my life set up where I'm financially stable, where I can be there for my family and not have to say, oh, I can't be there because of work or be there because of X, Y, and Z. Like I want to be able to be there for my family. And so that's what I'm trying to set myself up for. And so I was saying how, you have a good amount of like young adults like me, some a little older, some a little younger, that are still trying to figure it out. And you have this older generation that's giving advice from, however long ago. And I feel like you have some people that are like, oh, like, follow this older generation's advice. They know exactly what they're talking about because they've lived life and they've done all these things. And it's true. That's true. But then you also have kids, that are famous on TikTok that are making more money than you and I, and so it's like, you have the group of people like, it's like, oh, well, like they're just kids. They don't know what they're doing. And it's like, okay, well, they're still making more money than you. So it's like, you have something to learn from them, and so I was just kind of saying how you take a mix of things that the older generation is telling you and take a little bit of what the younger generation is telling you and what the people are saying around you. So just kind of, read between the lines of everything that you're taking in and find what works best for you and that'll help you find kind of your own path in life and what'll make you happy, like, does money make you happy? Like me, does connections make you happy and friends and family and being surrounded by people or, and I think it's all about maximizing that happiness. And so I was just kind of saying like, you could be stuck in a career, you could join a corporate company and for however much per hour, $18, $19, $20 per hour. And that's great. That's good for you. That's nothing wrong with that. And, some people find value in stability. And so that route could work for them. They could work a full profession in this 9-to-5 job and be happy because they're making a certain amount of money for either themselves or their family. But then you're working all these years to make it to a position where you're making the income that you wanted to make when you were in your 20s and 30s, and you're finally reaching these goals that you wanted to reach earlier in life with this one company, and that's, I feel like, the sacrifice of having a good stable job like that. But at the same time, there's nothing wrong with having a stable job and starting something on the side. That's also possible. But, I feel like there's also the other side where you have the young entrepreneurs and the young people who are starting businesses or projects or things like this, where, there's great opportunities for successes. There's a lot of failures along the way. And I feel like that's something is when you find your own success in something that you're doing, as long as you keep working towards it, you're going to have people that have been successful time and time again, sports, athletes, geniuses, leaders, you have to fail. You have to fail as a leader. You have to fail as a follower. You have to fail in order to learn. And you have to fail in order to succeed. And I feel like a lot of people hit those first few failures and are like, like this isn't me, maybe they just didn't have the drive to continue with it. But, yeah. And so I was just basically saying how, work your job, work that 9-to-5 for a bit. And then, once you have some money built up, once you feel like you've gained enough experience, try that thing you want to do it. Because as soon as you know it, like, we're in our 20s right now. Like, I remember being a kid, some parts of my childhood, like it was yesterday. Like, I feel like I blinked and I'm this old now. And it's like, I'll blink and I'll be 40. And it's like, I don't want to blink and be 40 and be like, dang, like, I wished I did all these things. I don't want to be like, I wished I did all these things. I want to be like, I did these things. And, I'd rather be like, I did this thing and I failed 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 and decided I didn't want to do it anymore after failing 40 times, rather than looking back and being like, dang, what if I did that? Because then I know, like, I did that thing to my fullest and I failed at it. and I decided that I didn't want to do it anymore one day, but at least I know the outcome of that. And I wasn't always wondering, what if? What if I did this? What if I went up to this person? What if I talked to this person? You know, I can look back and be like, dang, I maximized that opportunity. I talked to that person. I went for that job. I started that business idea. I started this podcast. You know, I made these videos. And that's big. And that's a big thing, because even if you're doing something wrong, at least you're doing something. So you'll eventually learn from it, even if you're an idiot, you know, like, so it's like, just get out there and do it, you know, whatever it is that's been sitting on your heart or your mind, you know, because at least you can look back at one day and say, hey, I did that to my fullest potential, and either I succeeded at it and I rolled with it for a while, or I failed and I failed and I failed and I decided I didn't want to do it anymore, you know? But I feel like that's the whole thing, is you got to keep moving forward in life. Don't become complacent, because life will never be complacent. We were just talking about earlier how society is always moving forward, you know? And so like, if you become complacent in life, society's not complacent. You'll fall off, you know? You'll fall off because society doesn't care. It moves forward regardless of who wants to stay, you know, stay in the past or live in the past or anything like that. So, and I think that's like one of the biggest things for me, is I was just kind of saying like, you know, like do what you want to do for a while. Don't be afraid to get out there and start something new. If you're working a job that you feel comfortable in, good for you. You know, you're doing well. And some people are trying to get there. You're doing well too. There's no like place in the world you're supposed to be at any age. I think some people are so built up like, oh, I have to be at this spot by 30. I have to be at this spot by 40, or I have to be at this spot by a certain age or by a certain income level. Or I have to have these certain things. And it's like, you know, set those goals for yourself and shoot for them. But like, if you don't hit them, you know, either keep going until you reach that goal or set new goals. You know, you can't just stay hung up on that one thing, especially if it doesn't suit the lifestyle that you're growing into.
That's a lot, bro. That's a lot of shit right there.
Yeah. So I don't know. I just for me, like for myself, I want the most happiness out of life, like I said, and that's also what I want for other people. So, you know, whatever way people could find that, or however way I could help them find that, I think that's cool, because, you know, everything's always kind of changing, and we can only just keep like inspiring each other to move forward and grow on to the next.
In one sentence, to summarize everything you just said, were you pretty much saying, hey, like, you can't really listen to anybody but yourself when you get to a certain age or like spot you want to be in? At some point, you just got to like take the reins and like steer your own spaceship to like whatever journey, whatever route you're going to go.
I would just say like, read between the lines. Like take everything in and use it in your own way. You know, like I feel like that's the biggest thing. Like you can't hold on to one belief or one thing too tightly or too firmly, because I feel like if you hold on to a belief or something too tightly, too firmly, then you could grow ignorant to the other things that are growing around it. Because I feel like with knowledge, like, not all knowledge needs to be knowledge that you're happy with or that you can accept. You know, there's things out there that people can't accept or refuse to accept, and that's fine. But like, the second that you stop believing that there's a possibility of something else existing besides your opinion, then I think that's when I feel like some people kind of lose their way in that. Because I mean, even with opinions that I have, like, I feel like I love hearing people that have differing opinions on it, because I don't hold on to my opinions too tightly. And so when I hear someone else's opinion on it, that either might be similar to mine or completely different from mine, I feel like it helps my opinion in a way of like, oh, I hear a fresh new perspective. I can either add on to my opinion in a certain way, or I can build up my opinion to refute that in a certain way. But I mean, in most cases, I just like hearing what people have to say because I've accepted that like the only thing at the end of the day that's really cool is like our own truth. Like whatever you hold to be true at the end of the day is what's most important. And like that's what I hold on to when I'm talking to someone. Like if I'm talking to someone and I don't agree with them, like I'm perfectly okay that I think they're wrong because, you know, they could be right and that's completely fine. But I feel like it's the truth that we each hold to our own is what's most important at the end of the day. And so like when I'm having a conversation with someone about opinions or beliefs that are different from mine, I don't look at it as like they're attacking me or attacking my own beliefs. I just look at it like, oh, what can I learn from this person? Or what can I learn from this belief? Or what can I ask them that I'm unsure about? Because, you know, this is an opportunity to talk to someone that has a differing opinion or a differing belief than I do. And I get to hear, you know, something that I may have never thought of before. And that could either help my opinion, that could break it down, you know, or it could give me a fresh new perspective or opinion on something. And that's also really important, you know?
Yeah, dude, after hearing all of this, it's like shit. Like I need, like Kyle.
I don't know if everything I'm saying is good. I'm just talking. I don't know if I'm doing like, if I'm doing all right. If I'm
No. This podcast needed to happen because now I'm realizing myself I need to be a better person because I feel like I've been a fucking asshole.
What?
Lately. Yeah. After doing this podcast with you tonight, I'm like, dude, I need to be doing everything better. And I feel like I've just been a major like asshole lately. And like, I've got some shit I need to work on and I'm going to try and make that shit happen.
Yeah.
I like, bro, thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. It was, you know how sometimes you just need to hear.
I don't want you to feel like an asshole.
Sometimes you need to hear a sentence or a paragraph or a conversation a certain way from like somebody. And it's like, oh my God, like, yeah, no, I'm gonna turn my life around. Let's go.
I think, bro, you already have been, you know, we've all been working on something new, you know, just try it out. What's the point of waiting? There's no point of waiting, you know, do it.